Hello everybody, this is Chino Ream from Starcraft for Dummies, reporting in for another episode. With me here is Venerati from Starcraft Nation. How are you doing?
Not too terrible. Just got back from Iowa and a pretty awesome wedding. So, traveling, as you all know, is pretty terrible. But enough about me. Let's go ahead and we got a tutorial today, right?
Yep, here we are looking at a 4-gate Protoss strategy, a very easy strategy to pull off, able to mass up a lot of units, very good for lower level Protoss players to get into the race. And well, that, and we'll also be looking at how to defend it from the Zerg point of view, as it is a pretty challenging build to hold off when your opponent knows how to do it, I guess. If you ever watched any videos of Day 9 on it, he says it's a very easy build to do, very simple to pull off. What do you think of the 4-gate?
Oh, it's really bread and butter. The power that I feel that you get out of 4-gate is the simplicity of it. You're not worried about tech trees and necessarily the exact timing. You don't have to get a certain drone here or certain tech right here, and you need to mine gas at this point. And so you're not crippled, or your timetable isn't shifted back if you miss something. You can drop these 4 gates down. And when we see Avocado here scouting, this is some early on scouting, so it depends on your opponent and if he sticks around and scouts enough. And if he sees a 4-gate, he can adequately try to prepare for it. And of course, we're going to talk about what you need to do for that preparation. And you're going to see in this match that static defenses can work well, but unfortunately, because static defenses are static, they can be circumvented, and that's what we see later on in this match.
Yes, and while we're waiting for the... I guess we should go over the build order. As you can see, starting out very standard, 9 pylon, 12 or 13 or 14 gateway around there. Be pretty loose with that. Throwing down the cybernetics core a bit late, but that can be caused by a slower player, maybe not as high level. So you're looking for like a 15, 16 cybernetics core, as well as the simulator going down. And while we're getting into this video, I just want to mention real quickly, submission-wise, at SC4D, you want to throw in a very good description, not a huge long description or anything, just a small paragraph on what happens in the match, why I should cast it, what's good about it, what people can learn, because I don't want any boring matches. I'm not picking by level or by league. What I'm picking by is how exciting it's going to be, how good of a learning experience you're going to get from it. I don't want any like a game where I had a 20-minute one-on-one Banshee versus Stalker, just boring fest. That's not even the word, bore fest. Yeah, so if you want your submissions casted here on SC4D, make sure they're exciting, make sure they're educational from a StarCraft point of view, and make sure they're not too long. We don't want to be casting 40-minute games, because those aren't really the kind of matches you're going to learn from, base races. You're not going to learn from base race. But getting back to the match, as you can see, 4 gates going down here, and a cybernetics core. That's about all the tech that you're going to see. He should be putting out the warp-gate technology soon, although it doesn't come right away due to the fact that he might be a lower level player. You want to get that technology out, but he's got 3 zealots out, ready to go. Over here you can see the Zerg throwing down the lair as well as an expansion at his natural. So what do you think of the progression so far in this match?
I want to point out real quick that the Protoss player did a really good job. Yasuo did a really good job with blocking that natural with a pylon. It took, it took Avocado until about 6 minutes into the game to actually break down that pylon, and that really throws your opponent off his game, especially with Zerg, because they generally do an early natural expansion. So far, Avocado is slightly wrong-footed in his general build, and we do see Yasuo starting to build up his forces. Now, I do want to note that in my opinion, I believe that he got Warp Gate technology out a little late. It's not going to kill you if you get it at this point. But with the 4-gate, what makes it so powerful is the warp gate technology, because you can warp in units pretty much anywhere you have power, as well as it gives you a better cooldown time. So and you can still chrono boost with warp gate technology. So right now we're just seeing him doing the bread and butter of the 4-gate.
Yes, and if, for any of you players that didn't know, you can chrono boost out upgrades such as warp gate technology. Just hit your chrono boost, hit the building, and away you go. Come back to it later, hit it again. It really speeds up the time. You're going to get it out much quicker.
Right, because Yasuo's at full chrono boost right now. He has not used chrono boost at all.
Right, don't let your chrono boost hit like there until mid-late game, where it's not as important to always be hitting your chrono boost. You don't need to use them as much, especially with warp gate technology, unless you're throwing down like Stargates and pushing out some VRs or something like that. You're going to want to chrono boost those. But
oh yeah,
it's in the starting the early game that chrono boost is the most effective. So make sure you're learning to macro up while using that successfully.
Let's see. And go ahead and look at the unit composition of Yasuo's forces. In the beginning, he had a pretty good concentration of both sides. You had zealots, you had stalkers, and you had 2 sentries back there. The sentries, of course, really good about blocking these ramps. And of course, we are going to see Yasuo come out here and push out. And I just want to note, with this stalker-heavy army, he's really leaving himself vulnerable to a Zergling surround, and there's so much room in this map to get that Zergling surround, especially if they have speed. Even if you do have blink, the stalkers will be chased down after the first blink by speedlings.
Right, and as you can see, he took his Zelnaga tower, letting him have the vision to see this push coming, and he retreats to his static defenses. I would like to note that one's Minecrawler may not be enough. I would even suggest 3 or 4. It might be a lot of minerals to sacrifice, but it's worth it when his 4-gate push is unsuccessful because of it, because your static defenses are up and in position. Of course, we're going to see how tricky that can be to defend off when there is a back entrance on this map, making it tough for static defenses to be as successful as they would on, say, Lost Temple and such.
Honestly, in Avocado's position right now, I would have done things differently, because he's pouring a lot of money into these Mutalisks. These Mutalisks really, you have to get a lot of Mutalisks for them to really start tearing into these Stalkers, especially with a Stalker ball like that. If Avocado had actually broken down his own rocks and come pouring in here behind Avocado's forces with Zerglings, he would have been really well off with that, because they would have gotten us around, forced him into those static defenses, and would have been able to break this large standing army.
Yeah, so massing up Zerglings, just getting a ton of them, probably would have been very effective, especially getting that surround. Like you said, coming from behind would have been a very good move, because he wouldn't be able to get away from that surround.
And really, the whole idea of the mass Zergling is, I'm talking about unit composition in this particular instance. If he goes heavy Zealots, obviously you don't want to go heavy Ling. You want to get a nice composition of Roaches or Hydralisks or Mutalisks if you want to feel invulnerable at that point. But really, you want to be able to react to your opponent's unit composition through scouting and through just basically being reactive.
Yep, knowing what he's going and reacting to it's very key. Also, as you can see, the Protoss player throwing down the Expanded, coming pretty late, like 12 minutes into the game, but you can do that when you're using the 4-gate push. You have the ability to save up those minerals, and even though your expansion comes late, you're still in good position, because right now there's no chance for the Zerg to push forward and stop your expansion, unless he gets a lot of Mutalisks, which in that case you're going to be able to steamroll him at his own base. So as you can see, pushing in from behind the rocks, and here comes a confrontation. The force field's going down, splitting up the forces, and this ball just seems too much for the Zerg to handle.
Right, there just wasn't enough meat on the Zerg side for anything really to happen. He spent too much money on his Lings, or on his Mutalisks, not enough on Lings, and those static defenses now are useless, because Yasuo did a good job of circumventing them and using that back door. Now, of course, every map is going to give its own set of tactics that you can use. So if you're playing a map like Steps of War, there is no back door. So there, you can use static defenses with great effectiveness. Whereas in this map, you have backdoors, so static defenses are only going to cause a competent enemy to go around. And here you just see Yasuo doing a great job of utilizing that, and his stalkers are just too numerous, and Avocado just didn't have enough Zerglings or Roaches. Roaches are pretty good against stalkers, but their range being only 3 means that they're not able to stack as many units and are at as many units at range.
Right, so as soon as the patch is up, the range of those roaches will be increased, and they should be a lot more effective against stalkers.
Right, absolutely.
So I was thinking, even if he had thrown down, because of the back door, he had thrown down a couple spine crawlers at his main, as well as a couple at his natural, and competently moved his units very efficiently between base to base, he would have had a much better chance of defending off this backdoor push.
Right. I would even say the fact of not getting static defenses in this match up on this map, because his units were so mobile that you really can't pinch him and get him where you want unless you have wings, which of course Avocado didn't really make that many. He didn't even get the speed upgrade. So the speed upgrade is always really pivotal for the use of Zerglings. It's only 100 mineral, 100 best speed. It's always worth it in my book. So there's really no reason not to get it. And you really want to make sure that you don't get backed up in a corner as the Zerg player, really trying to defend these choke points, because the wide open spaces are your friends. Like, you do not want to get backed up in a tiny corner because you can't use your numbers. That is your key. That is your key.
Vantage point.
Yeah, that's your advantage in the sense, especially early game with the Lings against Stalkers.
Alright, so yes, produce those Lings against Stalkers and get those upgrades. Take advantage of the fact that you can produce as Zerg more units quicker than a Protoss or a Terran player, so throw all those Lings that you can get at him as creating more, and hopefully by that time, if you're running out of Lings, you'll have more coming right away.
Absolutely, and always remember, when you're attacking, make sure that you're continuing to produce, because there's no reason to be saving up money while you're attacking.
Right.
And always scout. Scouting is a huge factor in this.
Alright, so with that was our technically our first lesson as a dual cast. Hopefully you guys learned something from this. More to come in the future. We are going to move on to a pro match next. A very exciting match coming up next, so keep on the lookout for new videos all the time here at Starcraft for Dummies. This is Chino Reams signing out.
And as always, this has been Roddy signing out.